Hi, this is Nicole Britton. I'm enrolled in a Master of Science of Education program with Walden University. The area of study is integrating technology into the classroom. And this week's materials covered the skill of teaching students to evaluate the content in a website and judge its validity. This is definitely a 21st century literacy skill that students need to learn. And today, I'm going to be viewing a website and talking through some of the strategies that a teacher would use with students to evaluate a website to decide whether or not it is valid with its content. This will not be comprehensive. It will merely just be covering one technique. So first of all, I would like to show you So first of all, I'm going to be sharing my screen with you, and I'm going to be showing you the textbook that I'm using for this project. The textbook that I'm using for this project primarily is Reading the Web. It's by Maya B. Ingleton and Elizabeth Dobler. The course that I'm taking is Supporting Information Literacy and Online Inquiry. So the website that I selected for this project, I was gravitating towards it. I was given a number of websites that I could choose, and there was a title and then a brief summary, and I gravitated to this website because it talked about octopus in the Pacific Northwest that was near extinction, and I am from the Pacific Northwest, so I gravitated towards that website. So here I am on the website, and the first thing that we would do with students is we would teach them to evaluate the URL on the website. And we would want to discuss with our students the ending part of the website and the edu, meaning that it's from an educational institution, and it can generally be taken credible. The .gov is from the government, and again, it can generally be looked upon as a credible resource. The .org is traditionally nonprofit, and organizations such as American Red Cross, Public Broadcasting System use this domain, and generally the information on these types of sites are credible and unbiased. But there are examples of organizations that strongly advocate for specific points of view over others, such as the National Right to Life Committee or Planned Parenthood. And you'd probably want to give those domains a little more closer scrutiny. So students would need to know that when they're on the .org websites to scrutinize them for a point of view. The .mil is not one that will come up as often for students when they're researching, but they should know that that stands for military. And then we have the .net, and that means network. And that's one that's going to show up almost as often as the .com. And you will find any kind of site underneath this domain. It acts as a catch-all for sites that don't fit into any of the other domain suffixes, or just a site that somebody was using and the .net was available for the URL as opposed to the .com. Information on these sites is sometimes very reliable and credible, but sometimes it is not. And so when a student sees a .net, that should be something that they should be alerted to instantly, that they should scrutinize the website. They should also know to recognize that some websites are from different countries. So if they see a .au, Australia, .in, India, .it, Italy, .ca, Canada, .mx, Mexico, FR for France, TW for Twain, IL for Israel, and UK for the United Kingdom. For this assignment, we are given a list of websites to review. And I'm going to be using a checklist that is in my text. And so the first thing that we do is we pay attention to the URL. And pay attention to the name of the site. And I would notice that this one is a .net. So now I'm thinking I might need to scrutinize it a little bit more. And then what is the name of the site? And pay attention to how it looks in the titles. Does the page take a long time to load? This site loaded pretty fast, and the front page isn't too terribly long. Are there big pictures on the page? Well, there's a picture here of an octopus arm, and I notice here there's a picture of an octopus in a conifer tree. So I'm kind of thinking that's different. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Is the spelling correct on the page? If there's incorrect spelling on the page, students should know that that most likely means that there wasn't an editor or somebody else that was giving some fact checking and eyes on before it was published, and maybe it is just a site that another kid their age possibly put up. So misspells are a red flag that maybe the content isn't accurate. However, I have seen misspells on national news sites, so misspells do happen, but that is something that they definitely want to pay attention to. So then we're going to go down and we're going to look and see if the author's name is on here, if the who created this. And down at the bottom here it says that, down here at the bottom it says the author of this article, and its subsections is, so we have a name right here, Lyle, and it says this site is not associated with any kind of school or educational organization. So and I don't see anything here about an editor. So it looks like there's just one single author for this site, which is maybe a red flag if it's a serious informational. Now I notice here there's a poster, a picture of a poster here, and it says, "Save the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus." And once again, there's a picture of an octopus with a conifer tree. It's a type of tree that grows very commonly in the Northwest. And then I'm going to look to see if there's any tabs or links on the site. And I'm paying attention to the information over in the sides. How to support. So up here towards the top, there's some tabs. So it says help. You can write your representatives and let you know that you are concerned and feel the octopus should be included in the endangered species list of protection. Write to celebrities, ask them to speak out on the behalf. Help build awareness. Now this is all great, but again, we should be pointing out to our students, we need to make sure that this information is valid before we take this kind of action, or we might actually be embarrassing ourselves. So facts. Let's click on that one. So frequently asked questions. And there is a YouTube video here, which I'm not sure would broadcast on this if I tried to play it. So I'm not going to, because I'm pretty sure it's going to malfunction. I have watched it, and I noticed when I was watching it, I paid close attention to the background of this, and it didn't look like a news story. It looked fake. Notice the background. It just didn't look professional. So I was beginning to scrutinize it a little bit farther at this point. And that would be something that I would be asking my students to do as well. When I go back to the pages, I can see that the website's been built well enough that I can navigate back and forth, which is something on my checklist as well, because some websites that are constructed very poorly, once you open up another tab or another window, you can't navigate back, and that is a big sign that the person who built the site does not know what they're doing. And so again, that's a red flag that there's a problem. So here's a page that says sightings, and so now we've got, it reminds me of the Bigfoot footage, and it's showing an octopus climbing a tree. And this says, May 11th, my friends and I hiked up to Mount Baker. Snow caused us to start 2 miles from the trail and head respectively, which respectively was a stroke of luck, almost back at the car. On the 12th, I suddenly see something strange. I suddenly see something strange. So grammar there, somebody saw something strange. I'm scurrying around at the base of the tree. I couldn't believe my luck. It ended up being the elusive Pacific Northwest tree octopus. I managed to get a little footage of it before it went away in the tree, and there's the video footage there. And then here we've got a picture of a hawk holding what looks like an octopus and flying with it. And then here we have, a few days ago, I stumbled across some information about the Pacific Northwest tree octopus on the site, so I decided to look for a specimen in my area, and I was happy to discover a tree octopus living comfortably in a tree near my house. Excitedly, I took out a dollar bill from its nest and I left it at the base of the tree trunk. I dashed inside to get my camera and took this picture just before the magnificent little creature crawled into its nest. So apparently it went back to get the dollar. And so there it is. So we've got another image here. And then we've got a snow image here. We've got a snow image here. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm just using the think aloud technique. I'm noticing with a lot of these pictures that the quality of them is questionable. With Photoshop, a lot can be done with photos, so we can't believe everything that we read, and we definitely can't believe everything we see. And some of the things that we would want to pay attention to if photoshopping occurred is how, if something was laid on top of something, how we lose some of these things behind, and they're kind of fuzzed out, especially this photo. And with this dollar here, the way the shadowing is and that it's fuzzed out is another red flag to me. And just whether or not something looks real. So this is supposedly one in a Christmas tree. And then I want to point out this one here. Look at how it looks. So if this were a species, it would probably look similar from picture to picture. But when I come down here, if you notice what this looks like and what this looks like, now I'm beginning to have a few more red flags that even though we've got pictures, we've got a supposed news story, we've got a fancy website. Look at this one compared to those other ones. And this one compared back to this one. One specific species would probably not look that different. And this one compared to the other ones. So now I'm getting a few more red flags. I had the .net. And let's just talk about the fact that octopuses, in my mind and in most students' mind, they would be, if you asked them where an octopus would live, they would say the ocean. So the fact that it's saying tree octopus, that's already a red flag. And I guess I should have said that towards the beginning. I should scrutinize it a little more. Moving on to media, which is another tab. So this is just talking about different literature that it's mentioned in. And I'm kind of skimming quickly, and I'm noticing the dates: 2003, 2008, 2000, 1998. And then these, once again, look at how that looks compared to the other pictures. And these could be photoshopped. Okay, so we have activities. I want to just test out all the links and make sure they work. That was on my checklist. So I recognize this, and I guess that that's something else that students learn how to do with a regular literacy is they use clues from things that they already know, and they make connections with the text, and by doing so they can make inferences. I know that in the Northwest, these are placed on trees all over, and those are actually bat houses. That looks exactly like a bat house. I've got one on my property. There's one on our school property. And they're to encourage the types of bats that eat insects. So I'm wondering about that. That's another red flag for me. Then we have some links, which is great. So it's talking about cephalopods in general. Cephalopod means head foot. So it's a scientific term for an octopus. So there's pages on cephalopods in general. So that's going to give me more information just about the about an octopus. And then some other animals of interest. Now, I find it interesting that they are not giving me any links that give me more information specifically on the tree octopus, which is another red flag. So going back to my checklist, I didn't see a date that showed me when this website was made. So I'm going to go to the About page. And I'm going to go all the way down because it's, okay, so up here at the top, it says, just barely can see it, it says, serving the paranoids since 1997. So it looks like the website was made in 1997. I'm also noticing now that up here at the top might have been overlooked, but this looks like some sort of a blog site that this was created on. And again, that would be another layer of possible scrutiny because it's just something that anybody can create as opposed to a .ed website. And then the next question is on my checklist. What does the title on the page tell me about? If there's an introduction telling you about what it is, and then asking me a little bit about the facts on the website. So what I want to do, because I'm thinking about the facts on the website, and I have all these red flags and these questions, I'm going to check and make sure these links work. But I'm also thinking at this point, one of the things that I'm probably going to be doing soon to fact check is to look up the tree octopus on Google and see if there are more resources out there that talk about the species. Because if the species were real, there should be more than one source of information about it. And the fact that this website is not giving me any on this very rare, supposedly almost extinct octopus has me concerned. So I'm going back to my checklist just for a minute. Am I agreeing with what the author is talking about? And I'm thinking that I'm disagreeing. I'm thinking that possibly I am staring at some fiction. So I'm going to test these links out. I'm going to right click on them and open them in a new tab and just tab over to them. And then I'm also going to look up the Pacific Northwest tree octopus in a Google search. But first, okay, so this page about cephalopods was a real page. And when I look at it, I'm not seeing anything about the tree octopus. This page about was another link that gave me worked. And it looks like some sort of a discussion forum, but it was a working link. And then this page here, I see a picture of an octopus with a Santa suit on. So I'm thinking it's not really serious. So now I'm going to Google search the tree octopus, and I had copied, and here's my Google search results, which I would be showing my students this as I walk through this, because if we're wondering about any kind of information, we should validate it with more than one source. And so I see that the site that I was on is here first in my results, and there's some images there that I saw on the website. There's Snoops.com, rumor, internet plea calls for saving. Okay, so I'm going to open that up in a new tab. And then here's a wiki. And it's talking about it being an internet hoax. So I'm going to open up that one. So Snopes.com is a website that I think that teachers should teach their students about. It doesn't always have everything on it. So sometimes, oh, hide the ad. Sometimes students will check something on Snopes and it won't be on the site. That doesn't mean that it's true, but if Snopes has put it on the site, they will either tell if something is fake or true. And so this is a way to validate information. And this is what it says. And I keep getting an ad for some deer. Okay, so tree octopus, and it says false. And the claim was a species of a cephalopod known as the Pacific Northwest tree octopus can live in both water and land and water, and it's false. And so here's the example, and it's saying the origins. Since 1998, unsuspecting internet users have been haunted by a terrestrial cephalopod known as the Pacific Northwest tree octopus, a unique amphibious octopus species that dwells in the Pacific Northwest. So this goes on to talk about, and oh look, these pictures look familiar to me. So these are the pictures that were on the website that we looked at. So it's saying that this is false. And then I go here, and this site also says this is an internet hoax created in 1998, and it has the author's name. So now I found two sources that say that this website is false. The pages looked good. The information on its face looked good, but it wasn't accurate. And so what we can learn from the information, what we can learn from websites like this is that information isn't always accurate on the web, on the internet. And the web has a bunch of fantastic resources, but it also has some information on it that is misinformation or just plain false. Now, the great thing about this website, and there's many others out there, there's another one about water, is that it's a fantastic teaching tool for teachers to use with students. You could probably have your class research this, and you can either do a talk aloud and expose it right away, or you can go ahead and let them go with it for a little bit and kind of fall for it. This might be an April Fool's kind of a lesson, and then point out to them reasons why they need to scrutinize the website a little more. This is definitely one of those situations that would be a teachable moment for our students. The pictures and the photos and everything is definitely pointing in the direction that this is probably fake. And so that's the end of my discussion on the website about the Pacific Northwest octopus, using the elementary evaluation handout from my textbook and a few other techniques that I'd read about this week. I hope that helps you. I am looking forward to hearing from people on other fake websites they found, because I think those can be fantastic teaching tools for their students as well.